Hello and welcome to another video. So today I thought we'd take a look at how Haven was faring in this current meta so far. We've done this deck once before, but I thought it was worth taking another look. Don't think much has changed. If it has, I will leave this link in the description below anyway. Basically, you're doing the same sort of principle, looking for those control-y type cards, going for the carapace as early as possible, while at the same time just dealing with your opponent's board and squashing them. Shadow hasn't been quite as prevalent, at least in my matches, so Ancient Lion could be worth taking out for better Janine, or Johns, or whatever you want to call them. Honestly, I'd run the Yuwan over this Dark, but Dark works pretty well as well if you don't have it, so it's a more budget-orientated idea. Of course, double Bahamut I find is quite nice. It does help in some matchups, but it could be worth dropping one of those as well. Otherwise, we're just running double either one Aegis, double Heavenly Knight. They're the main things you're pulling. The Heavenly Knights and the Aegises, that's about it. You could run 3 Heavenly Knights, you could probably get away with 2 Aegises. There's a few number changes that could be pretty easily adjusted. But other than that, we'll get right into the games and check it out. So our first match here is against Forest. Forest is a reasonably easy match, although aggro Forest is quite strong. Usually the only issue is Elephant, which makes Haven matchup a little more difficult. You want to be a little more aggressive against Forest in the early game these days, or you just really want to wall them out with wards so that they can't hit you. Of course, Elephant does avoid those though, so it does make it a tricky issue when you're dealing with those elephants. But we start with a pretty standard hand here. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy, and that's pretty okay in my opinion. We can drop the Snow White, we can drop the Pure Heart, we can curve out into the Priest. We have some okay options, and I really don't mind them at all. But of course, Sylvian Justice looks like they're going to get rid of Snow White completely. They don't want to have to deal with the Carapace Turtles in the next turn if they hadn't have killed this, which we don't have, but that's probably what they're playing around. Trying to avoid those, always important. And of course, Pure Hearted Singer gets the drop on the board. That draw, there is the turtles, exactly where I want. Those little gemstone turtles are so adorable. And of course, Brambles. I really dislike Brambles. Such a good card. Like, it's great when you're using it, not so great when it is used against you. But our turn 4 does look pretty nice. I do decide to trade in the Pure Hearted for draw though, because that's really what I wanted to aim for. And we'll just go double turtle. No real threats on the board, we don't need to play Priest. Definitely was tempting, but I just think waiting it out, a little bit better option at this stage of the game. No real need to deal with them. And we can use the Evolve next turn and proc both these turtles. And it looks like next turn Priest is actually going to be half decent. We're going to be able to clear half this board, set up 2 turtles, and prepare for turn 6 Dark John, which, if the turtles don't drop their health totals down, or get killed some other way, are going to be crazy strong. It says both our turtles. So they will either be 5/3s unless they're traded into, or they're just going to be really good bodies to soak up damage. But of course they have to use Crystal, which transforms one. Kind of disappointed with that. And the Evolve here is going to mean this turtle can't be used with Dark. So best course of action from here is just to trade the turtle into the 1/1 or let them do it. Use my Dark. We get a 6/1 along with our 5/5. We can deal some damage. We can hopefully set up a few turn lethal. While at the same time, Heavenly Knight's actually going to be a decent play in the following turn. So we're not out of options. Definitely not out of options. Pure Hearted Singer. Probably one of the most popular cards of this entire rotation meta. I think every deck that can run it does. So nothing exciting. Elf Song, not very useful here. Honestly, it would have been better if they could have got another fairy out themselves, but we're going to get 7 damage to their face, and Judge is going to deal with this 2/2 while drawing us an extra card. So like I said, setting up a couple turn lethal. Putting Forest to 7, going into turn 8, feels quite nice. We've still got the Evolve point, so if we do get to our Aegis turn, we've actually got a nice way to deal with it. And of course, Crystal and Aaron had to be the drop they get because they can now trade with the 7/7 really nicely. At least I do have things like Tribunal, which will work quite well. And Snakes or Pure Heart, either one, works really nicely in this turn. But no point clogging the board with Snakes yet when we've got such big drops coming down in the next couple turns. And of course, another Aaron. It's always the way, I swear. You're like, okay, we're setting up lethal, and then Aaron, triple Aaron. It's always my life. So we've got our okay board, I guess.
From the heavens above, justice is delivered.
Heavenly Knight will get to do at least a trade. And a free banish, why not? Probably not the most effective way to do all that, but I think it was okay.
Justice can never.
As I said, triple back-to-back errands. Absolute nightmare to deal with. Luckily I did keep this evolved, so the Either is next turn going to be able to pull Aegis. Aegis is going to basically dominate from here with little to no contention on the board, just because this 6/7 is going to be cleared very easily. And our follow-up turn being a Tribunal effect, really going to be hard to deal with, unless they could somehow double Elephant, which I don't see that happening. But of course, can set up with whatever we can, especially if we do want to drop, say, Bahamut next turn to clear wards or something. But they can see it anyway, more than enough for us to kill them. Awesome. So we'll follow up that last forest match with Haven. Haven Mirrors. Always a fun time in this meta. Haven Mirrors when there's only really one reliable Haven deck, and that is a control variation. You're not going to really see any kind of Storm, and you're not really going to see any kind of really weird Seraphy type decks. Which I really enjoyed Seraphy. Might actually see if I can work in an unlimited video for you guys sometime. Globe of Starways, pretty normal, pretty used to that. We draw absolutely nothing. Having the Either is nice, but other than that we've only got Pure Hearted. Probably the worst few draws I could have got. At least we do follow up turn 4 through 6 pretty nicely. So Grimnir, deal with it. Nothing else we really need to do. We can use the Globe. Banishment isn't really needed to be saved on anything, so why worry about it? And of course our Tribunal, nice. So double Tribunals will help, especially if we get warded out or we have to deal with things like this, which makes my Pure Hearted just that little bit worse. But a card that can double draw and throw a body on board, that can't normally be bad, honestly. So we do get to deal with that. Not the most glamorous way in the world, but it is done. And of course, Ancient Lion Spirit, a 4/5 drop. Set up our board. We know we're going to have space turn 7 to play what we want, just because the 1-drop amulet is going to proc, giving us a free draw. But where does that leave us? Heavenly Aegis, yay, so that means we can only use the Eithers to pull our wards, which I'm actually okay with in this matchup. Guaranteeing Aegis drop on turn 9 is really key to this match. The first person to drop it is usually the one to win, and since we are going first, we are going to have access to it the earliest. And we are going to dig through as well, get as much as we can. Don't want to clog the board too hard, but we are going to have our Snakes and our Tribunal proc, which will leave us with 4 on board next turn. So that's fine. We're going to be able to fit the Aegis down just nicely. And Israfil Saha, so this is like a neutral Haven. This is actually something I might be worth testing in the future. A Saha Haven package deck definitely piques my interest. Of course, We get the Heavenly. We get to spin the Evolve on it now. Don't know why I'm not running my animated, I guess, actually. I'm pretty sure I only have one in this variant of deck. Interesting.
Fighting is so sorrowful.
Either way. These fell, of course, should have expected it. Don't know what this Haven player was honestly thinking, I guess, because they could have rammed into the snakes as a target. The snakes would have died, it wouldn't have got baned, and it would have stayed on board, meaning they'd at least have a 10-10 on board that could deal with my future stuff. I would have been able to do this and ward up anyway, but I mean, it just seemed odd to waste the Israfil in that way. Definitely a misplay on their part, I think. And that was a perfect Tribunal. Couldn't have asked for a better one. And the final game for this video will be Dragon. This deck, I will say, struggles a fair bit with Burn Rune. Mid Shadow isn't too bad a matchup, unless they get like a basically perfect hand, then it can be a bit tricky. Everything else, I'm pretty happy with how it goes. I don't have much trouble with Dragon most of the time. PDK, little awkward, but you've got the cards to deal with it, which I'm pretty sure is what this deck is running, or at least some combo of that. Portal, no real issue as long as you don't get completely swarmed turn 6, so that's kind of important. And most other decks really just don't have the cards to deal with Haven effectively. Definitely what puts Haven in that high tier 2, maybe even a low tier 1 slot, just depending on how you're doing your bracketing, but tier lists, not that important. So, not bad. Snow White, we've got the snakes, we've got everything else we need on board right now. They've pretty much done nothing. We get free setup, play what we want, all we gotta do is wait this out. Unfortunately, I wish I could have put more on the board. Any kind of body would have been nice at this point. They're definitely just aiming for their ramp, getting as much draw as they can. We've now put some stuff on the board. It's going to be hard because they can clear all of this with a Salamander, and there's really nothing I can do about that. I've just got to kind of eat it, which sucks. At least I will get the draw, and I will get the Snow White if they do Salamander me, but they didn't, so yeah, that's pretty okay. Sybil. Alright, I'll take it.
Did you like it?
So, with Sybil on board, I honestly could have used these snakes and just traded straight into the Sybil, but I think just, you know, using my snakes for extra damage and using the 3/5 here is completely acceptable. Although, I think, yeah, it does make him susceptible to being cleared as well. But I mean, clearing this board with Snow White being left up could be bad. And of course, Bahamut. Luckily we have trusty old Tribunal, which will mean Bahamut can't be played for a little while. It's probably the best way to deal with it. Burning that Snow White, meh, not worried. I've already got another one in hand. So we do just go for the slow pinging damage in this matchup so far, just because we haven't really needed anything else and they haven't been able to clear us yet. Not completely anyway, we've always been left with something, and now we've got Tribunal, it's going to be really hard to use another Bahamut to actually clear us. And this actually would be pretty pointless of a trade, unless you have something in hand that can actually deal with a 2/2 Snow White. Which is always possible, Blazing Breath is a card after all. Or just Salamander now. Guess that was one of your unfortunate late game draws. We do end up with that Judge though. I think Judge is great. Being able to draw a card and banish, even though it is a 6-drop. Not something Haven really struggles with 6-drops, but I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. Pure Hearted Singer. Draw. Dragoon Scyther. There's their trade. Not really expecting too much from them, but we should be reasonably okay, honestly. I mean, what else are they going to do here? I've got the Ancient Lion Spirit, cleans up nicely. Also, we get the turtle. Tribunal still set up, so they're not going to be Bahamuting this turn. They're not going to be playing anything big this turn because it will be instantly cleared. Grim sets up a ward, so they can't get around that. I mean, this turn for them is horrible. And with an instant either follow-up next turn, we're going to have our own 8/8 beat stick on board. That was probably literally their best play. So, not too worried. We can play the Aether. We used our 2 to banish. Why not? They now can't remove that. We boosted the healths of everything just slightly. Just enough to keep them out of range of a full board clear. And that was all they had to show me. So Haven's basically just as good and just as fun as it was last week. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to like button and subscribe. As always, I will have this deck list in the description below and any other important links. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.